I'm not gonna say anything, but I think everybody saw the game, so they know what happened. It was a lot. It wasn't fair, but we just gotta play the game. I gotta keep playing the game, but it was a lot, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Luka Dončić has always played with passion, intensity, and an unshakable drive to win. He wears his emotions on his sleeve, fights for every possession, and refuses to back down, even when it means going head-to-head with the officials. First, it seemed like typical superstar frustration, a competitor demanding fairness in the heat of battle. But over the years, it's become something more. This isn't just about bad calls anymore. It's starting to feel personal. Even during his time with the Dallas Mavericks, Luka's intensity and willingness to speak up for himself and his teammates have put him in frequent conflict with referees. But he's never been one to complain. Just for the sake of it, he fights for fairness, consistency, and respect on the court. One of Luka's greatest strengths as a leader, he always has his teammates' backs. He's never been the type to let a questionable call slide, especially when it affects his team's chances of winning. Luka stands up, speaks out, and refuses to be silenced.
O'Neal puts it up off the mark. Tip up, no. Nurkic can't get at the ball. Overtime. Or are they calling a foul?
Yes.
In this moment, Luka didn't hesitate. After a teammate was hit with a foul he felt was undeserved, he immediately approached the referee, calm but firm, making his case without backing down. But standing up for his teammates wasn't always enough. Sometimes, he was the one on the receiving end of game-changing calls. As Luka's star power grew, so did the questionable whistles against him. Suddenly, in crunch time, the calls weren't going his way. Fouls were being called at his expense, often in moments that could completely shift the outcome of a game.
And Murray, shot clock winding down! Oh, call the foul! Oh. And there's going to be a challenge here. Dallas is going to challenge this. This is right from...
Luka finds himself in a tough spot, a crucial moment in the game, and the referees hit him with a costly penalty. Frustration is written all over his face as he throws up his hands, trying to process how a routine play turned into yet another call against him. But this wasn't just an isolated moment. It was a preview of the uphill battle Luka would face throughout his career, and once he landed in Los Angeles, things only got worse. Since joining the Lakers, he's been at the center of some of the league's most head-scratching officiating decisions. Phantom foul calls? Check. Technical fouls for almost nothing? Check. Getting hacked repeatedly with no whistle? You bet. At this point, it's no longer just frustrating, it's a pattern. Every player deals with bad calls here and there, but for Luka, it's become a nightly struggle. And it raises a bigger question. Is there something deeper at play in how the NBA handles its officiating? NBA controversies over officiating are nothing new. They pop up throughout the regular season, the playoffs, and even on basketball's biggest stage, the finals. But while the league is built around marquee stars, the players fans pay to see, the faces of franchises, the ones who define legendary moments, not all superstars seem to get the same treatment. And when it comes to Luka Dončić, the difference is impossible to ignore. Instead of getting the benefit of the doubt like other top-tier players, Luka is stuck in a frustrating cycle. Soft fouls called against him, blatant no calls when he's hacked, and technicals for reasons that leave fans shaking their heads. If you think this is just another superstar complaining about the whistle, think again. The clips, the patterns, and the sheer number of questionable moments over the years tell a different story. Luka Dončić is officiated differently, and not in a good way. Sure, every player picks up fouls, it's part of the game. Some are fair, some are questionable, and then there are the ones so absurd that you wonder if the refs are even watching the same game. Luka gets whistled for the lightest contact, calls so bad they wouldn't even fly in a casual pickup game. And the worst part? These calls always seem to come at key moments. Luka isn't a defender known for being overly physical. He's not hand-checking, bodying up opponents, or throwing elbows, but you wouldn't know it based on the way the refs treat him. In today's NBA, where even breathing on an opponent can earn you a whistle, Luka somehow gets called like he's playing 90s-style defense. Just watch this moment where he gets hit with a foul for simply being near Kyrie Irving. This is a textbook example of bad officiating. Kyrie Irving, one of the best ball handlers in NBA history, tries to create space against Luka Dončić. Luka barely touches him, yet the whistle blows immediately. What is Luka supposed to do? He's just playing defense, no reach-in, no grab, no bump to throw Kyrie off balance, yet he still gets punished simply for existing. But it gets worse. This isn't just a bad call, it's a game-changing one. When players like Kyrie Irving, Jalen Brunson, and James Harden can sell contact and bait refs into calling fouls while Luka doesn't get the same benefit of the doubt, the game isn't being officiated evenly. Take this foul on Jalen Brunson, another. Ridiculous call. Brunson, a master of drawing contact, initiates it himself, loses the ball because of Luka's great instincts, and somehow Luka is the one called for the foul. Meanwhile, when Luka takes a hit like this, no whistle. These calls pile up. By the fourth quarter, Luka is often in foul trouble for nothing. It's a pattern that's becoming impossible to ignore. If Luka so much as breathes on a defender, it's a foul. But when he's the one getting hit, silence. And the worst part? Luka gets hit hard, no call, then gets a technical for reacting. How is that fair?
Quickly now to the quarterback. Spinning around, Doncic, 1, 2, he's in the lane, and then got bottled up, and he's going to get a technical foul. They tee up Luka.
Well, he turned to me.
This is where the inconsistencies become unbearable. Luka drives into the paint, gets hit by multiple defenders, no whistle. Frustrated, he reacts the way any player would. But instead of correcting the mistake, the refs double down and hit him with a technical. Make it make sense. This wasn't just a bad call. It was a missed call that led to an even worse one. Luka absorbs clear contact. No whistle. Luka expresses his frustration. Technical foul. At this point, what is he supposed to do? He can't defend without getting called for soft fouls. He can't attack the rim without getting hacked. And now he can't even react without being punished. It's not just frustrating, it's demoralizing. When a superstar of Luka's caliber is officiated this unfairly, it doesn't just hurt him, it hurts the game. Fans don't tune in to watch referees decide outcomes. They want to see the best players compete on a level playing field. So you have to ask, are the refs trying to send Luka a message? Because if they are, he isn't backing down. And if they keep trying to break his spirit with bad calls, they're in for a rude awakening. Just look at this. Luka takes clear contact against the Nets. The refs act like nothing happened and just move on. Once again, clear contact and nothing. Luka drives to the basket, takes a hit, and goes down hard. But the refs? They act like they didn't see a thing. No whistle, no foul. Instead, they let play continue, forcing Luka's teammates to scramble back on defense while he lays there for a moment, visibly frustrated, trying to process what just happened, because at this point, what else can he do? He gets up slowly, shaking his head, clearly trying to keep his composure. But the frustration isn't just about this one play, it's about the countless times it has happened before. If this were Jason Tatum, James Harden, or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they'd already be at the free throw line. The issue isn't just bad calls, it's the inconsistency. Luka gets whistled for minimal contact on defense, but when he takes real contact attacking the rim, the refs stay silent. How is he supposed to adjust when the officiating is this unpredictable? These moments aren't just frustrating, they're game-changing. And at this point, it's impossible not to ask. Is Luka being officiated fairly, or is there something bigger at play? Just look at this. Luka gets called for one of the softest offensive fouls you'll ever see. Luka Dončić is a master at controlling the pace of the game. His footwork, body positioning, and balance allow him to get his shots off without needing elite speed or athleticism. He knows how to create space without pushing. Off, initiate contact legally, and maneuver through defenders with pure skill. So when he makes a clean offensive move only to get whistled for an offensive foul, it's beyond frustrating. The defender wasn't even set, clearly a blocking foul. Yet. The call goes the other way. Where is Luka supposed to go? What exactly did he do wrong? He makes a normal basketball move, gets his shot off cleanly, and somehow the refs hit him with an offensive foul. It's not just a bad call, it's a momentum killer. Instead of getting 2 free throws or another scoring opportunity, Luka gets penalized for simply playing basketball. Instead of the defender being called for initiating contact, Luka takes the blame for something that happens on nearly every possession. And you can see it all over his face, because it's the same story every game. Soft fouls against him. No calls when he gets hit. Technical fouls when he reacts. At this point, it's not just bad luck, it's a trend. The refs aren't just making occasional mistakes. It's starting to feel like Luka is being targeted, and when he finally confronts the ref, it's clear he's had enough. And honestly, who can blame him?
Doncic called for the foul. And a delay of game.
Luka tries to stay composed, but you can see it. He's done. He walks over to the ref, arms out, shaking his head, looking for an explanation. How is this happening every single night? He's not screaming, throwing a fit, or trying to show up the officials. He just wants answers. Why are the calls so inconsistent? But instead of getting an explanation, all he gets is more frustration. Because what can the refs really say? They can't explain why Luka gets hit with no whistle. They can't justify why minimal contact on him is always a foul, and they definitely can't defend why he gets technicals for things other players do all the time. So instead of owning up to the blatant inconsistencies, they just ignore it and move on. And for Luka, that's exactly the problem. A technical foul for wiping sweat? You can't make this up. Watch Luka get teed up for something as routine as wiping sweat off the ball. Something players do every game. Not for arguing, not for taunting, not for throwing the ball aggressively, just for wiping off sweat. Let that sink in. At this point, what are we even doing? This isn't about controlling the game, it's about Luka being held to a different standard than everyone else. Other players can argue, they can question calls, they can get emotional. But Luka, he gets called for things that aren't even. Violations, and it doesn't stop there. Luka gets another tech, this time just for complaining about a call. Something every player does. Luka knew he was right, but instead of fairness, he got another technical. How is that even possible?
Right back to Luka. Luka with 3, with 2. Oh, and they bailed him out a bit right there.
They bailed him out a bit?
Yeah, big time.
The big time bit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything, but I think everybody saw the game, so they know what happened.
Luka gets fouled, and he argues that he was in the act of shooting, which, to be fair, he absolutely was. Anyone with eyes could see that he had gathered and was going up for the shot. Any other player? They'd get a chance. To plead their case, Luka? Immediate technical foul. What exactly is he supposed to do? A referee makes a questionable decision, and when Luka dares to react, he gets punished again. At some point, you have to wonder, do the refs just not want him to talk at all? If Luka so much as questions a call, he's immediately penalized. But watch any other superstar. LeBron can talk to refs. Draymond Green can yell directly in a ref's face. James Harden can throw his arms up after every single drive. They get warnings, they get longer leashes, they get treated like stars. Luka? The refs shut him down immediately, and it doesn't stop there. Luka gets pushed. Clear as day, and guess what? No call. The ref was right there watching the play. Someone get them some contact lenses, please. Luka takes a forceful shove, completely off the ball. The kind of contact that gets called every single time for other superstars. Yet this time, no whistle, no review. Not even an acknowledgement from the refs, and somehow it just keeps getting worse. Outrageous. The referee was right there watching the entire play unfold with a perfect angle. He saw Luka get shoved out of position and yet did nothing. That wasn't just a foul, it should have been a flagrant. At the very least, a technical foul. Why? Because the NBA's own rulebook states that when a player is hit that hard off the ball, it must be reviewed for unnecessary and excessive contact, so why wasn't it? If this had been LeBron, Steph, or Harden, the refs would have immediately stopped the game. The play would have been reviewed, the contact assessed, and a call would have been made. For Luka, they acted like it didn't even happen. Meanwhile, if Luka so much as bumps into an opponent, it's an instant foul. Where's the consistency? How is it that a perennial MVP candidate can get shoved in plain sight and the officials just look the other way? At this point, it's not just bad officiating, it's blatant. It's an entirely different set of rules being applied to Luka Dončić. And if the league won't hold officials accountable, Luka might have to start holding them accountable himself. Because one thing is certain, he's not just going to take this quietly. Luka isn't just playing against other teams, he's battling the refs every single night. Soft fouls when defending, no whistle when he gets fouled. Technicals for the most ridiculous reasons imaginable.